Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to our spiritual drill of 25th August. Today I want us to discuss why do people resist boundary setting, even as believers. Boundary setting, I'm sure we know that for us it involves establishing guidelines to protect physical, emotional, as well as spiritual well-being that is rooted in God's design for us to live healthy. It's a good way of showing real love to others through grace and truth. Hear me, when we set healthy boundaries, it helps us to truly know ourselves, while respecting the needs of others, to avoid guilt and while trying to prevent others from being enabled to continue in their sinful behaviors. Boundary setting is hard because it's war. There will be skirmishes and battles, and it could lead to disputes. And sometimes it involves losses, both in relationships as well as assistance with assignments. The story of Genesis 49, especially if you look at verses 5 and 7, it tells us Simeon and Levi are brothers, instruments of cruelty are in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their council. Let not my honor be united to their assembly. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they hamstrung an ox. These are two brothers given to uncontrollable anger that must be separated to avert the consequences of the explosion. Such people will resist any form of boundary you put in place because they have anger issue. And so there's a battle. This battle involves I can put them under two categories. One is referred to outside resistance, where the resistance is coming from others. And then there is inward resistance, which is from our own selves. So let's look at first the outside resistance. When it comes from others, what is common resistance from people is anger. People who get angry at others for setting boundaries, they have character problem. Because they are self-centered, they think the world should revolve around them and their comfort. Any other thing contrary to that is unacceptable. They see others as an extension of themselves. And so we hear the wise writer in Proverbs 19:19 say something about them. Hot-tempered people must pay the penalty. If you rescue them once, you will have to do it again and again. Why? Is because as an angry person, he has a character issue. If you reinforce this character problem, it will return tomorrow and the next day in other situations. It's not the situation that is making them angry, but the feeling that they are entitled to things from others. That entitlement mentality is the crux of the matter. I like to share some lessons about dealing with an angry person so that it can inform your actions next time. The first lesson is that the person who is mad at you for setting boundary is the one with issue. Is the one that's got problem. If you don't realize this, you may think you're the one instead. But hear me, maintaining your boundaries is good for other people because it will help them learn life lessons they should have learned from the onset, but they failed to. A second thing you must know is that you must view anger realistically for what it is. Anger is only a feeling inside other person. It cannot jump across to you unless you allow it. So staying separate from another person's anger is very important. Let him or her continue with his anger. Ensure that you don't partake. If you either rescue him from his anger or take it on yourself, the angry person will not get better at all. But you end up being in bondage too. You know it's a bondage, it's a prison. Another thing is, don't let anger be a signal for you to do something. No. People without boundaries respond automatically to the anger of others. They either try to rescue or they seek approval. Or worse still, they get angry themselves. So please realize that there is great power in doing nothing. Don't let an out of control person be the cue for you yourself to change your course. No. Just let them be angry and decide for yourself what you need to do. For example, 2-year-old with temper tantrums will expect that their anger will push you as parents. They are pushing your button. And the parents will be compelled to give them what they want. Don't allow it. It's best to think your anger is about you. Get over it. I'm not giving in. Sometimes grown-ups do the same. They get angry and throw tantrums as 2-year-olds. So such people are 2-year-olds in big bodies. But we should react the same to them. Respond the same way to them. Another thing is that we must make sure that we have support system in place. If you're going to set limits with a person with an anger problem, talk to the people in your support system first and make a plan how you're going to deal with the issue. Know what you will say. Anticipate the other person's anger and tell yourself in your mind, here comes the anger just as I expected. So you know that it's coming. You are expecting it. But you have prepared yourself not to do anything. A fifth thing is that don't allow the angry person to get you angry. Keep a loving disposition while speaking the truth in love. Don't let their fleshly anger be contagious and infect you. No. And then be prepared to use physical distance and other limits that enforce consequences. You know, Ecclesiastes 7:9 says, be not in a haste to be angry, because anger lies in the bosom of fools. So keep your distance from that time. Is behaving like a fool. Someone once said, my life changed when I realized I could say, I will not allow myself to be yelled at. I will go into the other room until you decide you can talk about this without attacking me. When you can do that, I will talk to you. Be strong for yourself. These are serious steps, and they don't need to be taken with anger. You can empathize lovingly and stay in the conversation without giving in or being controlled, because most times they use anger to control people. Let them know that you understand they are upset, that you will not do that which they want you to do. I'm sorry you feel that way, but how else can I help you? And be sure to know that helping does not include changing your no to a yes. Offer other options. If you keep your boundaries, those who are angry at you will have to learn self-control for the first time instead of other control. When they discover they can't control you anymore, they will find a different way to relate. But as long as they can control you with their anger, they will not change. The reason we get ourselves in the place where we can be controlled by another person's anger is that we are dependent on such people. And that's why a lot of women are financially dependent on their husbands. So the husband can control them. The one with the power is the one with the control. But for some other people, they are controlled because they have unhealthy relationships with other people. We confuse people with God. What is healthy with people often may be unhealthy with God. And what is unhealthy with people may be healthy with God. Sometimes the hard truth is that they will not talk to you anymore, or they will leave the relationship if they can't control you anymore. This is a risk some people consider. God does this every day. He says he will only do things the right way and that he will not participate in evil. And when people choose their own ways, he let them go. A lot of times, you and I have to do the same. You know what is wrong. Don't collaborate. Stand firm, but do it lovingly. This is why setting boundaries seem to be resisted, though it's helpful and godly to do so. I like to pray for someone who is struggling with setting boundaries, or the one who is resisting boundaries others have put in place to truly realize themselves and fulfill God's mandate. Father, thank you for meeting everyone at their points of need. Every lack of self-control in such lives, please, Lord, intervene and establish your fruit of self-control. Help each of us to learn how to preserve our vessels in sanctification and honor. In Jesus' faithful name I pray. Amen.